So I talked a little bit about hip rotation and how that is important for a happy pelvic floor. So let's just say my pelvis is at rest. I'm not in extreme external or internal rotation. My pelvic floor is kind of chilling and doing its thing. And ultimately, we want our pelvic floor to respond like a trampoline. So it can react to shifts and pressure, and we don't want pressure leaks through the system. So as we take on that more externally rotated state, you can see how the pelvic floor descends. And when we find that internal rotation, pelvic floor becomes taut and ascends. So essentially, we just want that availability in our system for the pelvic floor to respond in all the ways. One of these positions is not inherently bad. We want access to both. The problem becomes when we get stuck in this externally rotated position all the time and we don't have access to this. So you can see that in this position, the pelvic floor is kind of stuck in one position and not able to then respond and ascend. And ultimately, being stuck in one of these positions, especially that externally rotated state, sometimes in this position during pregnancy or in that early postpartum period, we'll also see that accompanied with kind of grippiness on the backside of the pelvis, the glutes kind of tight and tucked under, the posterior pelvic floor really needing to kind of find some release and length. So that's where that internal rotation is going to be helpful for us to allow that length on the backside, releasing the posterior pelvic floor, maybe some manual strategies, and then also some breathing techniques, some hip rotation, getting in some hip shifting and allowing for that length to happen through, I love closed chain exercises. But hopefully through that visualization, you can see how the pelvic floor is going to respond based on pelvis position and the hip musculature. So the glutes, all the muscles that surround and are in the pelvis are directly related to what's going on at the pelvic floor. A lot of muscular attachments that are shared. So as we go into this external and internal rotation, we want to be cognizant of being able to access all of those so we can unlock the pelvis for happy hips, happy pelvic floor. And if you are stuck in one position and not able to access others, that could be playing a role in your pelvic floor symptoms, in diastasis healing, in pelvic organ prolapse, because ultimately those are related to pressure management and we're not able to get that pressure flow down and up in the body as we need to. So happy hips, happy pelvic floor, and hopefully that visual is helpful.